Howdy, folks. I'm the boisterous, blazing brown bag, battling bamboo.
I'm Amber.
And here's some more bamboo to battle.
Or Reddit.
Or Reddit. One of the two. You be the judge. I guess this probably wouldn't be a very fair fight against the bamboo if I'm blazing. Our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Begging My Girlfriend to Uphold a Sexist Tradition Just So That She Can Make a Good First Impression? I have a big family that's incredibly close. We have a big family dinner every few months where we all meet and greet grandfather's estate and eat together. Typically, how this works is that the women go cook for the time that they are there and the men don't, which I am fully aware is sexist. That being said, I am one of the youngest people in the family, and my protest literally means nothing. Some of the women chose not to cook. However, this usually was met with some level of ostracization. The women who don't cook are usually the wives and long-term girlfriends, so they kind of already have a good family relationship doctored in. When I have seen new partners not cook, it's gone badly. Like, completely ostracized, not speaking, cattiness, rudeness, etc. This dinner will be in 2 weeks, and my girlfriend was asked if she would attend. Initially, she said yes, which is great. I want her to meet everyone, for everyone to get used to her and being around her. But when I explained to her the tradition, she was understandably bothered. I told her that I understood where she was coming from, however, it was best for everyone if she just played along. I told her that this isn't a permanent thing, and that I'm only asking her to do this so that she can avoid bad treatment from the rest of the family. This is her first impression, and I don't think it's best if we cause waves. She told me that it's unacceptable, and that if she has to do this, then she will not be going. I tried to find a compromise with her on this, but she won't budge, and it's made me mad. She told me that if I think that it's acceptable to make her do this, then I'm just as bad as everyone else. While my point is that she needs to make a good first impression. Am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yes, you're the jerk. I mean, you need to stand up for your partner here. If your family is rude to people for not following sexist traditions, like I know you say you don't have any real power, you can always choose not to go.
Yeah.
You can always tell your family, hey, my girlfriend is coming here, but since you don't expect male partners to help out, we're not going to have her help out either. You need to change your ways.
Or he can actually help out during the thing,
Or
right?
he can help out in her stead and be like, hey, I'm going to do the contribution for our family unit. And so there's all kinds of ways you can approach this, but just telling your girlfriend to you just have to put up with the sexism because my family's sexist and nothing changes them. Doesn't change anything and forces your girlfriend to do things she shouldn't have to do.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where OP is coming from in the respect that he's worried that his girlfriend's going to be ostracized. And that's really unfortunate that the family is so wrapped up in this family tradition that they're willing to ostracize people just because they don't want to participate. And I think that this is really just not a very good environment. And I think that if everyone stops participating in it, like what about all the other people who haven't participated, right? Are they not part of the family anymore? Surely they're not going to ostracize your girlfriend. So I think that this is a bit of an odd situation.
Yeah, well, and you can stand up for your girlfriend too. Like if your family gives her the cold shoulder, it's your opportunity to step in and either, we're leaving until you change your attitude, or, say something in the moment and be like, hey, Uncle Joe, why are you acting like that?
Yeah. And I know that OP is saying that they don't feel like they have any power, but they do have the ability to have their presence there or not. And whether they're there or not can speak volumes. And I think that that's, of course, a powerful statement that OP can make.
Yeah.
So.
And I know it's hard to walk away from your family in a situation, but again, if they are going to ostracize people for not giving into their outdated traditions, then maybe it's for the best.
Yeah. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And traditional goal 223 says, you're the jerk. I hope her family has a similar tradition and makes you do the cooking. And OP replies, she made me go on a hunting trip with her father and brothers because she thought it would be a bonding even though I didn't really want to, and I think needlessly killing animals for sport is barbaric. I was willing to put up with that because I knew it would help me integrate into her family. And Time Summer 5 says, and if you didn't go, would the men of her family ostracize you for life? And OP replies, they spent the whole time calling me inappropriate words for not wanting to go shoot anything, so most likely, yeah, that's really not good. I don't think that either of these traditions are very good.
Both these families sound terrible, and you both should be distancing from them.
Yeah. Rubber Duck Rampage says, so you went with her family on a hunting trip, but didn't shoot anything. So by that logic, she should be able to go to your family and not cook anything, right? And there is a comment that clarifies that he did actually shoot some stuff. You stood your ground with her family, but she's not allowed to with yours. It sounds like she was willing to go, but just not wanting to cook. You went hunting and didn't want to shoot anything, so you didn't. Why is it okay for you not to do something against your will, but not for her? You're the jerk if you think that's a double standard is okay. And OP replies, no, I eventually did to get them off my back. And I think that's terribly regrettable that he compromised on his morals just because he wanted this acceptance and integration.
Right, and I think the lesson here is that just stick to your morals. They're more important than winning a certain people's approval. Like, if people are going to judge you for not needlessly killing animals or for not cooking, why do you need their approval? You don't.
Yeah, you don't really need their approval. And I think that's really what it boils down at the end of the day. If people are going to do things that you don't agree with, you can't tell people how to live their lives, but if you don't agree with those traditions, then you shouldn't be forced into those traditions either. So
I think it's important for families to have like a mutual respect and to accept that not everyone's going to have the same interests.
And TTPPII says, you're the jerk. In what country did that happen? Shouldn't you go no contact with that prejudiced medieval bunch of people? And OP replies, because not everyone wants to just cut off their family. And that's understandable, right? No Bodybuilder 8055 says, so you expect every girlfriend to be a personal maid to your family? And OP replies, that's an incredible stretch. I'm asking her to do this at most twice, so that she can make a good impression and people will like her. Then she can quit and it won't be that big of a deal. Alright folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not feeding my husband because he caused me to have an allergic reaction? He technically didn't cause the allergic reaction, but he pushed me into it. I'm a 26-year-old female and I'm allergic to a plant that lives in the state that my husband and I have moved to. We aren't sure which plant it is yet, but we are narrowing it down, kind of. My doctor has told me not to do any yard work whatsoever because I have an allergic reaction every single time. Full body rash and swollen joints for like a week. Wearing gloves and protective clothes has not helped. My husband knows all of this. Yesterday, he mowed and pressured me into helping him rake up the grass and weeds. I didn't want to, and I mentioned that I could have an allergic reaction, but he said that he needed the help and that I would be fine. Against my better judgment, I thought that if I just raked and I didn't physically touch anything, I would be fine. I didn't want to refuse him when he insisted. Well, today I have a rash all over, and a lot of swelling, and I feel like garbage. I normally meal prep for the next week on Sundays. This morning, I was only able to do a halfway job and threw some salads and some Tupperware for the next week and called it a day. I ate a lot of easy stuff that doesn't require cooking, so that's fine. My husband, on the other hand, eats like 15 pounds of meat a week, as well as vegetables and sides. It usually takes me hours to cook his food, and it's very draining. I told him that he needs to cook his own food for the next week because I'm too tired and my skin feels awful. He got mad and said that he'd just eat takeout since he wants to relax on his last day off. So now I have to freeze all of the meat so that it doesn't go to waste. He only cooks once or twice a year. He thinks that it's not fair for me to not feed him since I agreed to rake, and it isn't his fault that an allergic reaction happened. I'm not trying to punish him, but I really am suffering right now, and I just don't have it in me. I also do think that it wasn't fair for him to pressure me into doing something that he knows that I medically shouldn't do. Am I the jerk for not feeding my husband? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, but I would seriously consider whether this relationship is worth it. When you have a partner who is pressuring you into doing something they know can cause you harm to make their life easier,
Yeah.
that is not the sign of a healthy relationship.
No.
And if this had been like completely accidental, like he for some reason, he still should not have pushed your boundaries. That is, he absolutely should not have. But if he was like, oh, well, clearly this won't work, he should have been so apologetic when you got a rash and like doing everything to like cater to you. But instead, he's over here like, but I need my meat.
Yeah, well, the thing is that I think that he is complaining an awful lot for someone who isn't having an allergic reaction.
Yeah.
And what's wrong? Why can't he pull out his grill and grill up some stuff for the next week? And I think that that's really something that he could do if he knows how to grill and he knows how to cook. And I think that, again, this is really poor planning on his part. He didn't consider your health or well-being in this, and it kind of bit him here.
Well, and it seems like he still doesn't care about OP's health and well-being. It doesn't matter if she's having an allergic reaction. It's still her duty to make his food.
Yeah.
And, like, that's a really troubling mindset. Like, this does not seem like a man who wants a partner. He just wants a servant.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's hard to speculate on all of the inner workings of the relationship, but certainly in this particular case, it does not look good for the relationship in that respect, and it doesn't seem like he's respecting her. And at the very best, what they should do is go to couples counseling at this point in time to kind of start to work through some of these issues, because he clearly has a communication issue where he's not listening to OP and he's not taking her seriously.
And he has zero empathy.
Yeah, and zero empathy. I can't imagine not feeling absolutely devastated that you caused your partner to have an allergic reaction. And under the, oh, well, I didn't force her to. It's not like I twisted her arm, but clearly OP feels
she
some
felt
level
coerced.
feel obligation towards doing this.
And, like, that's the thing about, that's the insidious thing about it, is, like, some people assume that coercion is, like, requires physical force, but if someone feels like they don't have any option but to say yes, it's just as coercive and just as wrong.
Yeah. So anyhow, take care and good luck, OP. And CrossStitcher46 says, not the jerk. He knows that you're trying to figure out what you're allergic to. You had a medical reason not to do the raking. He should not have bullied you into helping with the raking. You have the horrible consequence of helping, and now he's experiencing the inconvenience, easy consequence of not having you prep his meals for the week. I'm so angry that he expects you to cook when you don't feel well. He's choosing not to cook. Please do not feel guilty that you are not feeding him. He is a grown man. I hope you can treat yourself to something nice when this latest allergy attack is over. Please don't help him next time. You may have an allergy attack that's even worse next time. And OP replies, I'm definitely not helping him next time. These reactions are really horrible. I can't even sleep at night because my whole body is aching and burning. I've had poison ivy before, and I take that over this any day. Poor OP. And Desert Song Lala says, info. Why did you not put your health first and decline to rake? You have severe reactions that could escalate during any exposure. And OP replies, I tried to say no at first, but he insisted that I should do it and that I would be fine. I guess I just felt like I had to.
And that's an important thing, is like, it is not OP's fault. Like, when you're coerced and you don't feel like you have an option to say no, it is not that person's fault. It's on the fault of the husband for putting her in a place where she feels backed into a corner.
Yeah. And Desert Song Lala says, he's not a doctor, and his statement goes against your past experience and directive from your medical doctor. What happens when you say no to your spouse? And OP replies, you're right. If I said no, he would have just said okay and then just been mad about it and about how I didn't help him when he needed it. Again, that just really sounds like an unhealthy relationship overall.
It's like emotional blackmail, and that's not okay.
Alright, folks, and our last letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Refusing to Give My Stepsister a Piece of Art After Finding Out That She Was Planning on Selling It? I'm a 26-year-old female, and my dad passed away a few months ago. He and my mother were divorced, and his second wife passed away a couple years ago, so I was the sole beneficiary of his will. Among his possessions was a painting, which was chosen by his late wife to decorate the maternal home. It was something of a wedding celebration present. His wife didn't work, so my father bought the painting. The paperwork was all in his name, etc. So it was included as part of his estate. His late wife had a daughter, Ellie, a 27-year-old female. Ellie contacted me some time ago asking if there was any way that I would consider letting her have the painting since her mother loved it so much and it had sentimental value to her. I was a little suspicious of this because if this was the case, surely she would have asked my father for it after her mother's passing. But nevertheless, I considered it. The price is worth, by most standards, a lot of money and it's beautiful. So I wasn't pleased to part with it, but since I never planned to sell it, and it was not a piece that held any special significance to me amongst my father's collection, I decided that I would gift it to her. I let her know that I would be making the arrangement to have it shipped and straightened out all the paperwork. Well, about a week ago, I get a call from a friend of mine who works at the gallery where my father purchased a lot of his art. She was his dealer. That is how we became friends. She let me know that Ellie had contacted her looking for evaluation and information on selling the artwork that I was going to give to her. My friend called me because she didn't know who Ellie was, but she knew that the piece belonged to my father and it was one of a kind, so she was concerned that someone was trying to fence it. This made me feel like a complete idiot because I thought that I was giving Ellie what she considered a piece of her mother, to essentially giving her a large sum of money got by subterfuge. I called Ellie and asked her what was going on, and she reluctantly confirmed that she was planning on selling it. I said that I wouldn't be feeling good about giving her one of my father's possessions just so she can sell it, especially after being lied to. And she said that it was none of my business and that I should give it to her anyways, since that money would mean more to her than the painting ever had. Everyone I've asked for advice on what to do has some skin in the game, so to speak, so I just want an outside opinion. Am I the jerk for not giving her the painting? Edit, everyone is asking if Ellie got any inheritance from her mother. She received her mother's small life insurance policy and all of her mother's personal belongings. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. Well, I think it would be great to. It sounds like Ellie has already gotten up the sentimental items from her mother's estate, and so, like, I think that's the important thing. But here, I can see why you wouldn't want this painting to just be sold. It's a one-of-a-kind painting, and it may not be the most special one to you from your father's collection, but it was still one that your father took the time to purchase, and it has that connection to your family history.
Yeah.
And it does feel very icky that she was like, I really want the sentimental item. And then it turns out, oh, well, no. Like, she
didn't want the sentimental item. She wanted the money.
Mm-hmm. And, like, you know, maybe if she had come up to you and been like, hey, OP, I'm having a hard time. Can I have some money? Like, maybe you two could have worked something out. But this feels really icky.
Yeah, I think that where she kind of really lost in this whole situation is the lying about it in the first place. And she wasn't straightforward. And this was a possession that your dad had purchased with his own money. It wasn't like this was something that Ellie's mom had got sacrificed and scrimped and saved for, and then he took the credit for buying it or something like that. And I could understand her feeling a little more jaded towards that situation and feeling like that money was owed to her if that had been the case. But again, this was something that your father purchased with his own money to give to himself as a gift from Ellie's mother.
Yeah, well, it also sounds like there was no real familial relationship between the stepsister and the dad. It sounds like this was a much later relationship. And so that's why she had to make the stretch to like, oh, this was my mom's. Like, it seems kind of like if she never gave him the time of the day when he was alive, and we don't know that for sure, but everything about this post kind of seems like there was no close bond, then like it feels kind of icky to go sniffing around his estate once he's dead.
Yeah, it does. So I don't think that OP's in the wrong here. I think that OP is right to keep a possession that she enjoys. She gets a joy out of it. She has sentimental attachment to it. And I think she has a lot more connection to this particular piece of art than Ellie does. And so I don't think that OP is in the wrong here for wanting to keep that sentimental attachment.
Yeah, well, and like as OP says, she has no plan on selling it. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to keep, these family pieces in the family and pass them down.
Yeah, exactly. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I have some tea right here. And Amber Oh no, she has a jovial Bobstein book, my nemesis.
What do you call a vampire that King Kong sits on?
What do you call a vampire that King Kong sits on? Well, I would imagine that would be a very flat vampire. A flat flampire? A flampire.
A flat bat.
A flat bat? Well, how's that better than a flampire? At least mine makes sense.
Well, this comes from a section of the joke book that's about rhyming, so...
Oh, so there was additional context that I needed in order to answer this joke that you didn't provide. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And I have Mega Mint.
Mega Mint Monday.
It is Mega Mint Monday. I almost always have Mega Mint on Mondays just to celebrate the Mega Mint of Mondays. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Manic Monday. I hope you're all having a great start to your week. Amber, we need some kind of moral guidance and support. Please have it in the form of an art dealer trying to sell me a rare piece of art.
You see, we have here a very rare painting.
It's very rare.
It's one of a kind.
Yes.
And in this painting, as you can see, there are a bunch of women, and they're all standing around cooking. There's a little peek through into the living room, and the guys are just sitting there doing nothing. You see that, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what we have to say about that? Oops. Smashing the patriarchy, that's all.
I see. So the moral of the story is smash the patriarchy.
Yes.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.